We all know luxury brands, right? The shiny logos, the glamorous ads, the celebrities showing them off on red carpets and Instagram posts. They make us believe that owning one of those bags or watches isn't just about buying a product. It's a sign you've made it. Status, power, success. But behind the polished storefronts and sparkling showcases, there are truths these companies would rather keep hidden. From how their products are actually made, to the way they manipulate human psychology, to the environmental and human costs no glossy campaign will ever admit. Today, we're breaking down the hidden reality of luxury, the exploitation behind the craftsmanship, the mind games that drive up prices, and the cracks that are finally starting to show in this billion-dollar empire. So hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon, and stick around, because after this, you'll never see luxury brands the same way again. Hidden exploitation. Luxury companies sell an image of perfection. They talk about handcrafted excellence, heritage, and uncompromising quality. But investigations have shown that even some of the biggest names, brands like Dior, Valentino, Louis Vuitton, are linked to suppliers where conditions are the complete opposite of glamorous. In Italy, for example, undercover reports exposed workshops where migrant workers, often from China, Pakistan, and other countries, were clocking 80 to 90 hours a week. Their pay? Just 3 to 4 euros an hour. Many were forced to live inside the same workshops, sleeping on dirty mattresses, surrounded by scraps of fabric, inhaling dust and chemical fumes. One shocking case involved Dior handbags. These bags sell for about 2,500 euros in boutiques. But the workers making them? They earned about 53 euros per bag. That's a markup of nearly 5,000%. Think about that. While influencers proudly show off their exclusive bags online, the people who stitch them together often can't afford a proper meal. And Italy is far from the only example. In Bangladesh and other parts of Asia, conditions can be even harsher. Workers are paid as little as 33 cents an hour, pushing through 14 16-hour shifts, 7 days a week. Many work in unsafe buildings, with little to no protection. The 2013 Rana Plaza collapse, where more than 1,000 garment workers were killed, is a brutal reminder of how dangerous this industry can be. Luxury brands love to distance themselves from these realities by pointing at suppliers and claiming codes of conduct. But in practice, the pressure they place on suppliers to cut costs while maintaining high margins makes exploitation nearly inevitable. So if the production is this grim, how do these companies convince us to pay thousands for something that costs just a fraction to make? The answer lies in psychology. Scarcity games. Luxury brands have perfected the art of controlling desire. Their most powerful trick? Manufactured scarcity. Take Hermès, for example. Everyone knows about the Birkin bag. You can't just walk into a boutique and buy one. Even if they have stock in the back, the sales associate will likely say, "We don't know when it will arrive." This isn't an accident, it's strategy. The result? People become desperate. Some wait years, cultivating relationships with store staff, spending thousands on scarves, belts, and smaller items just to prove they're worthy of a Birkin. And when one finally appears, it feels like winning the lottery. On the resale market, Birkins can go for over $300,000. Not because the bag itself is rare or impossible to produce, but because the brand has engineered demand through artificial scarcity. Rolex does something similar with watches. The company deliberately produces fewer units than demand requires, making wait lists the norm. And the psychology is simple. The harder something is to get, the more people want it. Ferrari takes exclusivity to another level. If you want one of their rare, limited edition cars, you can't just buy it. You need to prove loyalty by already owning several Ferraris. In other words, you have to spend millions before you're even allowed to spend more. Studies confirm this works. Around 60% of luxury buyers admit they purchase limited edition items out of fear of missing out. FOMO. It's not just about the item itself, but about the sense of being part of an elite group who has access. But if products aren't truly scarce, how do brands justify their jaw-dropping prices? That's where the illusion of value comes in. Price illusion. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most luxury items cost less than 10% of their retail price to produce. That $38,000 Hermes Birkin? Reports suggest it costs around $1,000 in materials and labor. A pair of $100 Lululemon leggings, around $5 to $6. The rest of the price is markup, brand image, and the illusion of exclusivity. This works because of what psychologists call price priming. Basically, our brains assume that if something costs more, it must be more valuable. The higher the price tag, the stronger the association with quality and prestige, even if the actual product isn't better. And brands are exploiting this relentlessly. From 2019 to 2024, luxury prices increased by an average of 54%. Some products even doubled in cost. But these jumps weren't because of better materials or more complex designs. They were simply because people kept paying. And then there's the myth of origin. Made in Italy, or made in France, is stamped across many luxury products, giving the impression of traditional European craftsmanship. But investigations suggest around 85% of production is outsourced to cheaper factories in Asia. The products are then shipped to Europe for finishing touches, like attaching a logo or sewing in a label, just enough to qualify for the coveted origin mark. So while the customer believes they're buying heritage and craftsmanship, in reality, they're often paying thousands for clever marketing. Greenwashing game. Another powerful tool in the luxury playbook is sustainability, or at least the illusion of it. Brands love to showcase eco-friendly campaigns, recycled fabrics, vegan leather, and circular fashion systems where nothing goes to waste. But when you look closer, many of these claims don't hold up. Fashion as an industry is one of the biggest polluters in the world. It accounts for about 10% of all global carbon emissions and 20% of global wastewater. And luxury brands are part of that problem. Despite the glossy campaigns, most luxury products still end up in landfills. Investigations in 2024 found that nearly 40% of luxury sustainability claims were false or misleading. In some cases, the numbers were even higher. The reality is simple. You cannot scale luxury production worldwide and still claim to be fully sustainable. On top of this, luxury lifestyles, private jets, super yachts, exclusive resorts, carry enormous carbon footprints. Extracting raw materials like gemstones and precious metals destroys forests and pollutes rivers in vulnerable regions. Yet these realities rarely make it into the glamorous brand campaigns. So when you see a luxury brand talking about sustainability, remember, it's often more about image than impact. Kids in the shadows. Perhaps the darkest truth of all is the role of child labor. In 2023, investigations revealed that children were picking jasmine flowers in fields supplying luxury perfume companies. These kids worked long hours in dangerous conditions, exposed to chemicals, for barely any pay. Meanwhile, the perfumes created from their labor sold for hundreds of dollars. The same year, reports linked Shein's supply chain to workers under the age of 16. While Shein isn't a traditional luxury brand, many luxury labels rely on overlapping suppliers, meaning abuses can trickle through the same networks. In response, companies announced zero-tolerance policies, but critics argue this doesn't address the root issue. Luxury brands often claim innocence by pointing to their codes of conduct. But in practice, the relentless pressure they put on suppliers to cut costs makes exploitation, including child labor, hard to eliminate. When scandals surface, companies often sever ties quickly to protect their image, rather than fixing the system itself. Cracks in the empire. For decades, luxury brands seemed untouchable. But that's beginning to change. In 2024 alone, around 50 million customers stopped buying luxury goods. Why? Prices have skyrocketed, and younger generations are increasingly skeptical. Many no longer believe that a handbag or a watch automatically equals status. China, once the powerhouse of luxury consumption, saw a 22% drop in sales. Youth unemployment and shifting cultural values mean younger buyers aren't as impressed by overpriced goods. Instead, they're looking for experiences, authenticity, and ethical practices. Social media has amplified this shift. TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are full of creators exposing the real costs behind luxury products. When people see that a €2,500 bag might cost €53 to produce, the illusion begins to crumble. Governments are also stepping in. In Italy, authorities place certain luxury suppliers under judicial control after reports of labor exploitation. The European Union introduced stricter corporate sustainability regulations, demanding accountability across entire supply chains. The walls are closing in, and the once untouchable empire is being forced to confront its shadows. Final reflection. So, the next time you see a shiny logo, a new exclusive drop, or a celebrity flashing their luxury purchase online, ask yourself, what's really behind it? Who's paying the price beyond the person buying it? Luxury brands have mastered the art of selling illusions: scarcity, prestige, sustainability, exclusivity. But behind those illusions are human workers struggling to survive, ecosystems being damaged, and psychological tricks designed to make us spend far more than the product is worth. And yet, cracks are showing. Consumers are waking up. The empire built on desire and deception might not stand forever. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more deep dives into the hidden truths of the industries shaping our world. Thanks for watching.